Carl Ackerman spent years in the center of the action. As lead sports photographer for Clemson Athletics, he made his name capturing high-stakes, split-second moments. His office was a deafening roar of orange. He navigated massive stadiums and tens of thousands of fans to document some of the most important chapters in the university's sports history. Nailing a shot in that environment requires absolute technical mastery. You have to freeze dynamic, explosive movement perfectly in frame, while simultaneously adjusting to constantly shifting natural and stadium light. But after a career of magazine covers and a national championship book, Carl walked away from the sidelines. He traded the complex flash setups and the roar of the crowds to return to his first love, nature. He left behind the biggest stages in sports to focus his lens entirely on a quiet, intimate sanctuary right in his own backyard. Photographing wildlife comes with a unique set of headaches. Animals are inherently skittish, and you are usually forced to shoot through a chaotic tangle of branches and messy, distracting backgrounds. In a studio setting, you dictate the staging and the lighting. Out in the deep woods, you control absolutely nothing. Traditionally, getting a great wildlife shot means hiking miles into the elements, lugging heavy gear, and hoping you can quietly track down a subject before it spots you and flies off. Carl decided to flip that dynamic. Instead of spending his days chasing birds through the woods, he reverse-engineered a habitat specifically designed to bring the wildlife directly to his camera. To pull this off, Carl utilized a very specific skill set. Before his time on the sidelines, he owned and operated a successful landscape maintenance company for 23 years. Over the course of a decade, he applied that botanical knowledge to his property. He carefully layered native plants, vibrant perennial flowers, and natural water features to create a thriving, self-sustaining ecosystem. Right in the middle of this engineered oasis sits the Nut House, a custom-built photography blind that comfortably conceals up to 5 people at once. This blueprint shows the precise layout. Perches and water features are placed exactly 8 to 20 feet from the blind's windows. This highly intentional distance mathematically optimizes the focal zone for 300 to 600 millimeter lenses, perfectly filling the frame with a small bird. Carl spent a decade turning a simple yard into a meticulously calibrated outdoor studio for wild birds. This setup yields vastly different results depending on the calendar. April and May kick off the peak season, marked by chaotic, action-packed nesting cycles. During this window, adult birds make frantic, continuous trips to the feeding stations to support their young. You'll frequently catch scenes like fledgling bluebirds begging for food amidst early blooming wisteria and colorful redbuds. As June rolls into August, the brutal heat sets in. The local birds begin molting their feathers and largely disappear from view. But the photographic opportunities simply shift to a different technical discipline. Carl sets up intricate, multi-flash camera stations specifically timed to freeze hummingbirds in midair as they feed. The wildflower meadows also attract massive numbers of butterflies, opening up the chance for detailed macro photography. Macro photography is a specialized technique used by photographers to capture extreme, highly detailed close-ups of very small subjects. So the first half of the year provides a clear progression, transitioning from the raw behavioral chaos of spring nesting to highly controlled, flash-driven macro work in the late summer. September and October introduce high variability. The weather swings wildly from hot to freezing, and the abundance of wild food means birds don't necessarily need Carl's feeders. But the payoff for sitting patiently in the blind during these months is high. Photographers get a rare opportunity to capture migrating warblers as they pass through the curated foliage on their journey south. Then comes January and February. With natural food sources depleted in the wild, the local birds flock back to the sanctuary, their feathers puffed up thick in vibrant winter plumage. When a cold snap hits, Carl fires up a snowmaking machine, blowing fresh powder over the perches to create high-contrast, perfectly framed winter scenes. Whether it's blooming spring flowers or artificial winter snow, the habitat offers a distinctly curated visual challenge 12 months a year. It is important to remember that the Nut House is entirely open to the wilderness. There are no cages, and these are wild animals. No matter how perfectly the environment is engineered or how well the lenses are calibrated, the actual activity in front of the camera is dictated entirely by natural instincts and unpredictable weather patterns. The sanctuary functions as a living, breathing model of vital wildlife habitat restoration. By planting native species and providing clean water, Carl actively repaired a small piece of the local ecosystem. He uses this passion project to show other photographers and homeowners exactly how they can make their own properties friendlier to native ecology. Capturing stunning, magazine-quality wildlife imagery doesn't demand a grueling trek to remote corners of the globe. You just need a solid understanding of local ecology, a photographer's eye, and the patience to build it right in your own backyard.